We've got the link up. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to make sure the YouTube live works out, and then we'll get this party started. All right. Awesome. Good morning, family. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, everybody. It's always a fun day when we have the most awesomest dip out there in the markets. I am looking for certain moves to happen. So if we go back to, I'm going to give you guys a little bit time to join in, but Ron says the bully basher. I know it's always fair. And Ron, let me tell you, I am the least confrontational person you will ever meet. Like I particularly avoid confrontation. And so this is not where I shine the most. But yesterday, when somebody picks on your little baby, you gotta go stand up. So it was something I was definitely proud of, and something that's just completely out of character, especially when you're yelling at another 7-year-old. Well, I wasn't yelling at him, but still. It's always exciting. Anyway, all right, let's not get too much into it. My daughter had a bump the size of a golf ball like on top of her forehead, so that kind of got me rallied up. But anyway, moving on. No more bullies, everything's sorted. She's doing great. She's in school, the teachers are aware, everyone's great. All right, moving on to stocks. The Qs are having this little pullback. So guys, as the greatest of all, Tony Pollock said, we are either going to go higher, a little bit higher, wick top, trap some peeps, and then roll over. Or we're just going to continue higher like it's nobody's business, right? And so I think this is where Tony's absolutely right in this scenario. Yesterday, we just wasted everybody's put money and premium money and just kind of trapped a bunch of bulls, especially people that got involved yesterday long. But I do think, if you look at some of the shorter time frames, I do think it's not any of the new bulls jumping in. It truly feels like just some bears closing out, and then we come back down and the bears will want to jump back in again. So I had this trend line. If we expand this a little bit more and kind of sort of put our eyes on this little channel that's going on right now. Let's see if I can draw it out. We'll try to keep things cordial. But, we have this stuff going on right now. We could possibly pull this down a little bit more sometimes things kind of go off track and then come right back into it. So, if you look on the bull side, we still have room to go up to maybe possibly about 328, 327 on a weekly chart. I want to say the SMA is right over here. So I would say maybe the bull case scenario stands still, but today I think the latest flavor of panic on the Wall Street is the debt ceiling. So, when the day starts negative and there's fear out there, there's blood on the streets, I do think some panic at open is definitely going to occur. It just depends on how much of a panic we're going to get. So if we get a panic where we come down here and then we look for bouncage, then maybe it's not that big of a deal. And maybe we continue higher to 328, 327 level. But if we get a massive panic and take out this candle, which I think is kind of unlikely, but again, I didn't think this candle was very likely either. I knew this was a gap and go, but I didn't think that this gap and go was going to be that phenomenal. So, it would take out all 3 days of the candles. Kind of like what Dan likes to call the pew, pew, pew play. I didn't think that was possible with this candle. So again, just because I think something's not possible doesn't mean it doesn't have to happen. So it depends on what kind of droppage we get today, right? Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I do have some puts that I am, and I got in yesterday at 323. Now these were puts I was going to layer along as we head higher. But I guess, I mean, if we don't end up going higher, that's fine also, because if we don't look at this channel, we just look at the very shorter term trend line right here. Right here, then we've kind of sort of achieved that area, right? One would say, yes, we are at resistance. Yes, that is plausible. Yes, we could pull back. So it all depends on how deep of a pullback we get. So let's go look at the shorter term time frames. On the 4 hours, what I'd be watching for is this area right here. So I was truly banking on this turning into the inverse head and shoulders and then taking off. So if you guys can follow along, there's this massive inverse head and shoulders right here happening, and then within that there is this inverse head and shoulders that's also plausible, right? So I mean, this is going to give it that push up to go up to 327, 328, trap some more bears or whatever. On the hourly, I don't like that we're opening here, especially if we open below here. There's not much holding us down until closer to 317, which is, I think, where the 10 EMA is on the daily anyway. So, it depends on how deep of a pullback we get. I mean, if at open, we just flush down and take out this level, this would be the 13,250 level if Fez is here and is looking to trade NQ. So if you're trading futures, this is where my target would be, 13,250 or 55.60 area, which we're fairly close to it right now. So, and if we take this level out, I mean, really, there's not much protecting it all the way down till here. So it depends on what sort of a flush we get at open. So when we're talking about what sort of a flush, let's go look back at yesterday. So yesterday we had this massive day up, right? And yesterday everybody and their mom was expecting this thing to collapse. Well, we kind of sort of did at open, but that was not a decent enough flush. This is not what I call flush. This we just used as a bouncing mechanism right here, this support level. That's it. We didn't flush back enough to where bulls would seriously be worried. These guys would seriously be concerned. So that to me feels like a little foo-foo kind of flush. Today, I think we're going to get a little bit of a deeper flush. So let's see what kind of pullback we get. And undoubtedly, I'm going to have two lines drawn over here for a day trade. And SPY and the Qs today are going to be, I feel like they're going to be the instruments to be trading. Yesterday, they weren't really. I mean, you could have picked any other ticker and you would have made money. SPY and the Qs, not so much. So today, I feel like SPY and the Qs have a lot of consolidation done, and they may make a larger move. So let's see which direction they want to head in. If at open we bounce at this area again, then I feel like we've kind of sort of made up our mind. Maybe the bulls are strong, maybe they'll take over. But if we let go of this level and continue to drop, I mean, look at this, guys. This is where the next level is, right? So that's what I'll be watching for. Let's see what happens at open. A lot of things can change between now and 9:30, right? Jay Linder says, chop today, flush tomorrow, CPI numbers hot. Yes, absolutely. Lauren says, BA is a nice gap and go. So let's go look at BA. It had some news about a deal going through with somebody, and they started bouncing just recently, because I looked at BA earlier and I was like, okay, nothing much to look at here. But yes, Lauren, the only reason I don't like this so much is because it's gapping into the 10 EMA. Now, with that being said, it's got room to go much higher though. And undoubtedly, we can't deny this massive, ultra, mother of all double bottoms on a weekly chart on BA. I mean, if you haven't seen it, guys, at some point, start adding to your position if you have a long-term account in BA, because if you haven't seen this, you're missing out. I mean, this is very, very obvious that it's right here and you can't miss it. I bet it shows up on a monthly chart too. Let's see. Yep, perfect double bottom. So, at some point, I feel like BA is going to take off and go soar up higher. But for now, I think for a day trade, I do like it for a day trade. I'm not denying that for sure. And we've had 3 days of selling with 1 day of nothing burger, and now we're going higher. Yeah, I think I like this gap and go. I changed my mind because it is into the support. It is gapping up. I do like this. So let's see if we can get one red candle at open, either on a 1 minute chart or a 3 minute chart. Sometimes things just take off. They don't even wait for you. So I don't know if that's going to be the scenario here, but either way, I like it. I like it for a good play to the upside, and it's got room to go. I mean, it's got room to go all the way up to 205, 204-ish level. So yeah, definitely one of El Primo setups here on BA. Ideally, I would like an entry somewhere around 199, or let's just make it whole number 200, right? It's at 201 right now. If we can pull back to 200, I think that would be amazing on BA. Let's see, what does this look like? Yeah, it's just got that trend line. So yeah, a little bit of pullback. And remember, guys, we like high RSI to go short, sure, but then we like high RSI with a divergence even better. And BA might get that divergence today. So let's wait for a tiny little pullback if it wants to wait for us, and then continue higher. Let's see how that works out. PayPal and PLTR have big gaps. So Alex, just a personal preference thing, Alex. I used to play PLTR for day trades all the times, and I just sort of disliked it a lot. So I had it in my rule book to not touch PLTR. NVIDIA's actually gotten into my good books lately. It's been behaving and not really messing up too much. But yes, this is a pretty massive gap up. And I love the fact that we're gapping up above all of this range, right? So we're not stuck in just limbo. It would have been weird if we were gapping up to here, because then it'd be like, well, how high can you go? This is where you're going to get rejected. But I love the fact that we're gapping up above all of that. All of these bears in here are going to want to get out. So I would wait for, maybe for a day trade, it may not be that great of a candidate today. But if it can pull back, and then we take it up to the highest, to maybe 1030 level, I think that, or maybe even to fill this gap, I think that could work out. And, I see this inverse head and shoulders happening on it. So yeah, I like it. Let's see if it can pull back today though. Why is it gap? I mean, earnings, I guess. Yeah. They have great earnings. I guess Kathy Woods is happy today. Doesn't she have like a massive holding on PLTR? Tesla's a bearish retest or Friday bearish trap. Let's go look at that. Let's go look at PayPal real quick for Alex. So Alex, for me, I think I would want to leave PLTR alone for day trade today. Again, it could go, to 1050 today, but I think I would just stay away from it personally, just because it's such a big of a gap. PayPal is, oh, geez. I guess my 5 shares are not going to be very happy in PayPal. I have 5 shares long-term at 169, by the way. And I don't care if PayPal goes to 0, it doesn't matter. It was just a little play that I had at one point, and it's not really working out. But anyway, so PayPal is gapping down massively, and I hate that. Just like PLTR, I hate that we're gapping down below this gap level. I can't be like an island reversal, not really, no. We needed to fill this gap, which we were doing all this while in this area, and go higher. We needed to use this level as a support level. So like if you were throwing the basketball down, then the floor needed to be the support level, like there we go. And then bounce off. But I guess that's not happening. We're gapping down below. I would be shocked if PayPal doesn't go down to maybe 67, 66 range in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, or even lower for that matter. So yeah, for a day trade, I would wait for some hopeful bulls to come in and go, oh, it's down so low. But again, today is not looking like those hopeful bulls are going to show up, right? So I don't know. I mean, when you're looking at, the futures and the gap on the Qs and SPY, it's turning into a gap and go kind of scenario. So I don't know if the bulls are going to show up, and the only way to play this is if the bulls are trapped and then we go lower. Could we go much lower? Sure, but I wouldn't be interested in a large gap like that. Essentially, it's what, more than 7% gap down. So yeah. Let's go look at Tesla and then Roblox. Tessie. Oops, sorry. Tesla, this beauty. Okay, so this guy had one job: to go up here and fill the gap, or go down here and fill the gap. Either way would have been okay, but no, because we're Tesla, we have to be special and we have to be dramatic, and so now it's in this it's in this zone where, had I filled this gap, it would have been too obvious. It would have been like such a perfect play. The day Tessie fills this gap, I would have bought like a whole bunch of puts. I mean, I don't really have an alert here, but I've been watching Tesla quite a bit. So, the day that happened does have this inverse head and shoulders on a larger time frame. You can see, on a smaller time frame, you could see it, but it didn't really do that. And then with today's gap down, I think it's gonna make some of these bulls kind of sort of fear a little bit about their position, and we could end up going lower. Let me just check something. It's got room to go a little bit higher. It would have been wonderful if it had come up here, then rolled over. That would have been perfect. It would have been a little too perfect in my opinion. So yeah, I like this gap down. I'm looking for, let's go look at the 4 hours real quick and the hourly. Okay, cool. All right, something to 165.20 should be a good target. That's where I would be looking to peel off some profits, if not get out of all my position. But yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty decent, and I could see it come down to 165-ish level. So let's keep an eye on Tesla. We'll move it up a little bit, scoot it up a little bit. Okay, cool. Cool dealio. Let's go look at Roblox. Bearish gap and go. Ooh. Roblox. This is a ticker I feel I ignore so much, and it's got so much potential. I need to start looking at Roblox more. Oh yeah, this looks good for that gap fill area. Yes, 100%. I like it. Let's see, hold on. The only way I would be a little bit worried is if we're a little bit low on the RSI levels. No, we're good. I like it. Okay, cool deal. Roblox, I would look for an entry somewhere by the body of this candle. I don't know if we're going to get that buying at open. It would be nice if we got buying at open and then we rolled over. But yeah, I like where we're gapping down to. I like where we're opening. I love this high wave indecision candle and this hammer below, and I think we could come back and fill this gap at 35.28. If you had a decent stop above the body of this candle, I think this trade would be a pretty easy 1R kind of trade. So we'll keep an eye on Roblox also. And scoot it up a little bit. Now I want to go look at things that have had a massive run up yesterday, Netflix being one of them. Because if we're going to trap some bulls, it would have been the people that got in yesterday, and Netflix is one of them. But it's not really gapping down the way I'd have liked it to. So I guess we'll come back and circle around this guy a little bit later. Let's look at Nvidia and Microsoft. Nvidia, just, oh God, this thing is just so wild. It's like, what do we do with Nvidia? It's crazy. I mean, who in their right mind is going bullish here? Yesterday, who bought it for long term? AMD and PLTR. Okay, let's look at AMD real quick, because I know AMD had a phenomenal day yesterday. And it's not really, so this is another thing where if the markets shift wind and we actually decide that we've pulled back enough, CPI numbers don't matter, today is going to be a bullish day. And again, I wouldn't be surprised by anything really at this point. I think everything's valid. Every argument is valid. Tony yesterday said something really, really interesting. He said, well, it's not like any new bulls are jumping in or new bears are jumping in. It's literally just people shifting in and out of traps. So, the minute we create a trap, for example, and I'm not talking about AMD specifically, because I know there's news on AMD and there's some partnership stuff going on with it. But let's say we trap some bulls, right? And if AMD turned into like this upper wick, little body inverted hammer, then all these bulls would be trapped. And them getting out and some new bears jumping in, going down, and then some new bears jumping in below here is what's going to make the market shift. Just traps, that's it. Everything else is just kind of sort of just in limbo. I don't see any new people. Like, for example, how many bears do you think got trapped here for breaking down this trend line? I could tell you a lot, and then we went higher. So it just makes me feel like there's just a lot of traps out there, especially for day trades. I don't know lately if you guys have noticed that, but if you're in a trade or if you're playing a specific trade, I would say go look for tickers that are resonating with the broader markets. So for example, Tesla is being weak, right? And AMD is not. And the broader markets reflect a gap and go, kind of, right? Qs have it, SPY has it. Well, SPY has a retest gap kind of thing. But if you look at the Qs, they have a pretty decent, well, I mean, if we took out this week, it'd be a gap and go, but it would, we're gapping below this green candle pretty much. So if you're playing something, play something that's in synchrony with the broader markets. The minute you go find something different, I think it's going to come back and bite you. For example, Apple yesterday led the broader markets. Now, Apple today is up pretty decent gap and go, below this wick. So this, I feel like, is in synchrony with the broader markets. And of course, Apple leads the markets in general. I feel like today, if Apple drops, we all drop. And it's very, very important for Apple to hold certain levels. Yesterday, I want to show you guys what a phenomenal play there was on Apple just using fibs. And I caught it, but I just wasn't brave enough to play it. One second. So let's go back and look at the 5 minutes yesterday. And so, at open, we were dropping, and we came back down to the 618 precisely and bounced off and continued higher. The fibs are placed on yesterday's candle. So, the day before's candle, by the way. So we came back, pulled back to the level where it should be getting bought up, and it wasn't getting bought up. So today, I feel like we let go of this level, we let go of yesterday's low, it would be a gap and go, and things could get a little bit ugly, a little bit out of control. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for Apple. My fibs are placed, for those of you wondering, they're placed on this candle, the big green Friday candle right here. And in relationship to this candle, we've pulled back into the buying zone. This is the golden zone where bulls should show up, the 786 and the 618. If they don't show up, then I guess you better prep for this gap fill. And I don't think that could happen today. I think that would be a massive move that Apple would have to travel down to. But I do think that if we don't hold this level, we're going to have some issues out there. So definitely keep an eye on Apple. Meta is a sweet, yes. Cindy, my friend, I love it. Love it. I looked at Meta earlier, and I've been on top of this guy. Okay, like seriously, Meta, I've been watching this thing since this day. And sometimes but I know we don't trade Meta as much in the rooms. Dan looks at it quite a bit, and Johnny looks at it quite a bit too. But I truly love day trading Meta because it's just one of those tickers that's like the new Tesla, right? It moves a lot. has a pretty decent movement in whatever direction it goes. So for day trading purposes, this thing is golden and I absolutely love it. So yes, definitely a decent gap down. Cindy, anything below here, I think this is where my next target is for a day trade at least. And then, I mean, not that we can't go any lower. We have this massive gap fill to occur, but I don't think it's going to pull back that much in one day. Again, just because I don't think that's going to happen, it's not like it couldn't happen. Or we could just continue higher. This is a level that Meta needs to come back down into and bounce. Hold the 10 EMA and say, well, adios, we're going higher. This gap will never fill. But that's not what's happening right now, right? We're gapping down below these two indecision candles. After that many bear days, no bulls are showing up. I think Meta is at that level where it's like, what do we do? Do we take profit? Do we come down, wait for the dip, then add more to our position? What do we do? So I think that's what Meta's doing. And I like it. I love it for a bear play. We'll move it up a little bit more. But we need Roblox and Tesla. That's where the priorities lie right now. Deepak says, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Richard says, good morning. Scott says, good morning. Scott says, PLTR will be interesting. Yeah. So PLTR, yeah, I would wait for a pullback, Scott, on PLTR. And that's the only way I would go long. Otherwise, I don't know. I think it's gapped up too much for me to, I guess, play it bullish at that point. So for BA, do you think we should put in some buy limits at the neckline of the long retest? Yes. So Scott, for BA, this is YouTube comments, by the way, guys, in case you're wondering where I'm reading these off of. But for BA, I think the best way to play this is if we come back down to this level, the 200, and I mean, there's no real formula as to like where your exact entry should be, right? I'm just relying on this support area. And I feel like if we could pull back to 200, dip a little bit more, I would add more to my R, make it a 1.2 R trade, make it a 1.4 R trade, whatever. But I would add more to my position just if we pull back deeper enough. I mean, technically you could pull back all the way to 198.81, then use the 10 EMA as the bouncage level. This 10 EMA will change as we open today. It'll change as we get a new candle, but anyway, but yes, I think 199 to 200 level, 199.50 to 200 level is a good level to look for entries in BA, and then maybe continue higher. If it takes off right at open, then that's ship sailed. Too bad, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's what I would plan on doing. Yeah. Any other tickers that we need to look at today that I have missed so far? Square, guys, keep an eye out for this monster. I don't know what's going on here. It's at a level where a bouncage should occur. If it's not going to, this is it for Square. We're going much lower, down to 50s. I mean, we're already in 50s, but for Square to go down all the way here, it's going to be quite a bit of a pain. So Square, keep an eye out for it. Now, Square is turning into a ticker where it's like, well, you can't go long or short. So then what do you do? When this occurs, the thing that I could think of is the song, I Can't Live With or Without You. It's like, well, what do you do then? Nothing. There's no play here. Just walk away. Shopify is definitely decent for a pullback. Now, I know this is so counter trend trading, but it's gone up quite a bit. And if today we have the CPI issue, whatever fear rolling in today, Shopify could look decent for a pullback. So let's check it out, you guys. All right, YouTube land, it's time for me to say goodbye to you guys. In case you guys are looking for options trading and you're brand new and you're afraid of options and you have no idea what it is, definitely check out my mentorship that starts this Thursday. We've got, I think we've got a couple of spots open for that, but it totally just relates to options trading. But until then,